From WNYT, Albany, News Channel 13, live at 6, begins right now.
Tonight's top story, the devastating effects of Tropical Storm Irene. How the capital region fared as the mammoth storm tore through town.
The worst is over, but high winds and heavy rain leave more than 130,000 people without power. Many are spending the night in shelters, forced to evacuate their homes. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Jim Cambridge.
And I'm Benita Zahn. Irene is now a tropical storm, but the former hurricane hit the capital region hard. Today, our reporters have been out all day covering the region.
Meteorologist Paul Kino has been tracking the storm all day long. He begins our team coverage tonight from the Weather Center. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Jim. Good evening, Benita. As you mentioned, the worst is over, but still plenty of effects from Irene to be felt across the capital region through the evening hours and the overnight period, and even into tomorrow. Let's get right to the first morning live Doppler radar, and we'll see most of the heaviest rain has pushed on through. Scattered showers now moving in from the west, not particularly heavy, but any amounts of rain on top of what we've already seen will only compound the issues as we get deeper into the evening and for the overnight period. As we take a look at the overnight or the rainfall totals for the last 24 hours, just huge amounts coming in over 10 to almost as much as 14 inches of rain. The yellow, the red shades, an indication of amounts more than 3 to 6 inches of rain as we zoom into the greater capital district. Albany, Schenectady, Troy, not left out with as much as 4 to 6 inches of rain in these locations. The Stockade in Schenectady, they're worried about flooding, but not until tomorrow when record flood stage is likely at the Stockade from all the rain. But the heaviest has been down in the Greene County Catskills, and that's why we're so concerned about the Schoharie Creek, which has been rising past record levels and been evacuated the areas around the creek during the course of the afternoon. You can see the storm moving out, the rain winding down, but still flood warnings out for our entire area. Also tropical storm warnings out for our entire area until the storm completely moves away, which will be overnight tonight. Rainfall totals massive in the amounts ranging from 4 to 8 inches of rain, even select amounts above a foot. We also had the wind, which has subsided now, but gusts at times over 50 miles per hour in the city of Albany at the National Weather Service office and also at the airport. Tropical storm force gusts also from Guilderland over into the Berkshires and many locations across our region. We'll have much more on Irene coming up in just a few minutes. Jim and Benita.
All right, Paul, thank you. And you just heard those rain totals from Paul. So now let's get to the pictures. To say it's been a rough day is an understatement. In Windham, the fire chief tells photographer Lance Wheeler downtown Windham's been washed away. And by looking at these pictures of Main Street, it's not an exaggeration.
Schoharie County is also seeing its share of damage, and there's fear tonight the Gilboa Dam may be in jeopardy. Sabrina Dami's in Schoharie and has the very latest for us. Good evening, Sabrina.
Good evening, Jim and Benita. First of all, the rain here has finally let up. The wind, however, has not. We're in a parking lot off of exit 23 off I-88. Right behind us, you can see sheriff's deputies standing by, questioning everyone trying to get into the village of Schoharie, which is to my left, asking them to turn around. Over here behind us, you can see in this valley just a small portion of the Schoharie Creek. It is still swelling, as Paul said, to record levels, and the concern tonight is the Gilboa Dam. The dam siren has been going off all afternoon, prompting police to evacuate the entire village of Schoharie. As the raging waters quickly rose this afternoon, emergency crews needed to make some quick decisions. First, they evacuated residents to Schoharie Elementary School.
It was flooding, and then we heard the dam siren go off, and we had to get out.
But it still wasn't safe.
The Gilboa Dam siren is going off, and we have to go to Cobleskill.
We can't stay here. They want us to leave our pets. It's not fair. She's 4 pounds. They won't even give us a ride to Cobleskill.
This woman was in tears over the thought of having to leave her dog behind.
We will get you help, ma'am. I promise you that.
Eventually, they brought in school buses to get everyone out. And back here in the parking lot off of I-88, we learned that those residents were eventually moved to places in Cobleskill. We're hearing also possibly Chalmont High School. Again, the entire village of Schoharie has been evacuated, as well as Middleburg, as police and crews keep a close eye on the Gilboa Dam. We'll be here monitoring things. We'll bring you updates as they come out. Jim and Benita, back to you.
All right, Sabrina, thank you. And then you're trying to get people evacuated. Traveling has been a challenge with with roads blocked by downed trees or washed out. In fact, our crews have had to find roads they didn't even know existed in order to get around. Now, among the roads impassable tonight, Route 2 in Grafton, washed out.
Also, the thruway's been closed southbound from exit 24 to exit 12 and northbound from exit 7 to exit 21A. Now, earlier today, we got word that all Amtrak runs in the Northeast were canceled, and we have a call in to find out when service might be restored. So far, we haven't heard back yet.
The Albany International Airport is open, but 95% of the flights canceled today. Now, some flights will be coming in tonight, and they tell us they should be getting back on track tomorrow, but call ahead for your specific flight information.
Also, numerous road closures due to flooding reported in southern Albany County.
The evacuation efforts this afternoon were compounded by the search for a missing person who may have been swept away by a rapidly rising creek. News Channel 13's Jessica Layton continues our team coverage. She is live in New Scotland. Jess?
Yeah, hey, Jim and Benita, and here in New Scotland, we're just starting to get some of those winds that other folks in the capital region have been dealing with all day. Over here, you can see National Grid crews on the scene. They've been here for the better part of 2 hours along Route 443, trying to restore the power here. Now, these outages all throughout the capital region, that's something we all fully anticipated with Irene. What many did not expect is that this might be a situation of life and death. In fact, that is the case, as you mentioned, in nearby Clarksville tonight, where the search is on for a missing woman who is feared dead after she was swept away by the current of the creek behind her home. And so, unfortunately, for folks in that community, Irene has lived up to all the hype. The Inesquitha Creek raged in a fast and furious way that lifelong residents have never seen before. Were you all prepared for this?
Not this. I was prepared for minor flooding. There's no way to prepare for this.
James Riley took cover under the rear hatch of our car as he stared in disbelief at Irene's force and destruction, blowing through Clarksville, washing out Delaware Turnpike. This looks like the ocean right now.
It looks like the ocean on Delaware.
Desperate drivers hit roadblock after roadblock, flooded streets, trees and wires down, trying to get to safer ground. Ken Hazen, like so many others, was worried about his family.
Trying to get to my dad's house. Nobody's heard hiding her hair from him. We tried hiking up through the woods, but it's just too flooded.
All that flooding forced half the town to evacuate to Clarksville Elementary School, where an emergency shelter was in full swing.
When the neighbor came and said the dam may break, the Helderberg Dam, that was definitely the breaking point.
We packed up like the whole house in 20 minutes and pretty much came here.
A woman living on Slingerland Ave is feared dead tonight after it's believed she was swept away after stepping outside to check out the creek. A life and death storm hitting close to home in a community where everyone knows their neighbor, and now everyone knows Irene.
Once in a lifetime thing.
It's unbelievable. It defies words.
And here in Albany County, it is expected the cleanup and the restoration of power could take several days. And those folks you saw at that shelter, they're prepared to stick it out for the night there, knowing there's no way they're getting back to their homes along that creek anytime soon. Reporting live in New Scotland, Jessica Layton, Jim and Benita, back to you.
Just incredible video tonight. Jessica, thanks very much. Troy police say that a huge mudslide this afternoon took out a commercial building and 2 houses.
Some residents were taken to Samaritan Hospital with minor injuries. Jason Goff is at the scene in Troy. He's got more on this developing story. Jason?
Hey, Jim and Benita, and a very good evening to you. Yeah, we're up on the corner of Congress and Brunswick. Just talked to Chief Garrett a little while ago from the Troy Fire Department, and a couple of those houses were knocked off of their foundation. What happened was, of course, Troy is very hilly, so as you look up about 80 feet at the top of this hill, well, the whole hillside gave way, and it knocked out a bunch of houses along the way. We shouldn't say a bunch, but it knocked out those 2. Also took an RV out as well. And the most kind of daunting thing is that behind the top of the hill that still remains, there are a couple of streets up there, Bleecker and Highland. Those have been evacuated, houses there, because they're only about 50 feet away from the top of the hill. They are expecting the hill to give way some more, and in fact it has started to do that. You could just standing there talking to the chief at the scene, you could hear some of the trees starting to give way. They're fully expecting more in the way of a landslide to come on through as we head through the overnight hours. So that area has been evacuated. They're hoping to get folks back into those houses tomorrow. Right now they're staying at the Italian American Community Center, but they're hoping to have that folks come back into those houses tomorrow to get their belongings back. But until then, this area is cordoned off as they're waiting for more of that hillslide to come on down. Live from Troy, I'm meteorologist Jason Goff. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Jason, thank you. And you be safe out there because that could just come barreling down.
Oh, that is
sure
such a
keeping an eye on
such a scary situation out there. And you've been sending us pictures all day long from your communities. We want to thank you for that. And coming up in just a moment, we're going to share some of them with you right now.
Coverage you can trust. With Jim Cambrick, Benita Zahn, meteorologist Bob Kovacic, and Roger Weiland on sports. This is News Channel 13, live at 6.
Welcome back. We continue our look at around the capital region in the aftermath of Tropical Storm Irene. The storm carved a huge path of destruction in Schenectady and in Latham.
From downed trees and power lines to flooding and major roadways shut down, in some cases just washed away. News Channel 13's Dan Bazil has that part of the story.
Massive trees uprooted as if they were small plants and crashed down on homes, causing damage. This one at the corner of Chestnut Lane and Glenwood Drive in Latham. It looks like the tree branches went through the roof. And on Fiddler Lane, another tree in another house. The homeowner and her family inside at the time say they felt the house shake.
It was a huge boom. Both the big trees that came down were big. They both were loud.
Pam Pasamato is still trying to assess the damage. The house is up for sale, and she's not sure how things will play out.
I've already called the insurance, so they're aware. They have a lot of claims coming in.
And in parts of Schenectady, downed trees and power lines were also an issue. We found them on Union Street and Grand Avenue and McClellan Street. This one fell on a house in the Stockade on Ferry Street, taking down some power lines that were still arcing and most likely caused a small fire.
I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it is. There's trees down, fire. We luckily have power.
A number of roads were closed because they were impassable, either because of downed trees, wires, or flooding. This is Weaver Street in Schenectady next to 890 at the height of the storm. Right now I'm staying in about a foot of water, and in there it's even deeper. As you can see, there is no more road here. The road has turned into a river with water rushing through it like rapids. Broadway, a major thoroughfare, was also shut down due to flooding. But even with those conditions, some people would not let that keep them from going outdoors.
It's a little bit tamer than what I experienced. I was prepared for the worst, and it's not like what I was expecting.
Dan Bazil, News Channel 13.
Irene also rocked much of Berkshire County today. Dan Levy was there, but washed out roads kept Dan from getting back here to the station. He joins us live now on the phone from Route 2 in Grafton. Dan, how is it out there?
Well, Jim, it's a not-so-funny thing that happened on our way back from western Massachusetts. State Route 2, just a few miles west of Grafton State Park, has been washed away. It's no longer here, and parts of the highway that remain have water shooting up through them like they're geysers, and more of the roadway may be in jeopardy of succumbing to the same fate. Now, many other roads in Rensselaer County, I'm told, have also been shut down. There are actually whitecaps right now clearly present crossing the highway. That's how rapid the water runoff is. Obviously, this is an awesome sight, but clearly, it's a very dangerous situation. We will continue to monitor things here, but I should also mention that my videographer Mike Grady and I were on our way back from Berkshire County, where Tropical Storm Irene left a mean-spirited calling card. The heavy, persistent rains in North Adams smashed through retaining walls at the base of Mount Greylock, flooding basements, washing out roadways, and leaving mounds of earth and boulders in the middle of State Street. That is State Route 8. It is closed down still in both directions. Many areas of the Berkshires are flooded. Runoff is everywhere. If there is a silver lining over there, it might be that we didn't seem to see much wind damage. We didn't encounter any limbs that were down. Of course, back here in New York State, the collapse of Route 2 in Rensselaer County, obviously a significant nuisance. It's a major headache. And they won't even begin to repair it until this runoff ends. No telling how long that will take. We'll have much more from both Rensselaer and Berkshire counties tonight at 11, including some incredible video. Live in Grafton, Dan Levy, News Channel 13.
All right, Dan, thank you. And safe back to the station. And another reminder of why when police say don't go out.
Don't go out.
Don't go out. Here's a look at some more of the pictures that you've been sharing with us from your communities today. Take a look at all this. Paul, up next, he's got your full forecast, and believe it or not, it includes some nice weather.
Plus, Jessica Layton is standing by with this.
We've had a heck of a day out covering Tropical Storm Irene here in the capital region. Coming up right after this, we'll show you a lot of the damage that we've seen throughout this treacherous day. Coming up.
Now, your first warning weather with meteorologist Paul Cayano.
Well, some folks still dealing with the effects of Irene. For the rest of us, we made it through with some damage, but not a lot. And again, if you're one of the folks that were affected severely by the storm, obviously we will continue to update you further on the effects. But right now, we're looking at the back end of the storm. We have showers out here through parts of Saratoga County, Rensselaer County, and down into parts of the city of Albany. The hardest hit area is now off to the north. That's where we see the heaviest rain as the storm continues to track through New England. But now on the back end, we do see the steady but light rain as the heaviest stuff has moved on through Mechanicville over to Scotticoke, Eagle Bridge, and down through portions of Rensselaer County. Let's see how much rain we picked up based on the Doppler radar. It has the ability to estimate the amount of rainfall, and most places throughout our region saw at least 3 inches of rain, but we're getting reports of 4 to 8 inches of rain and even higher amounts, especially out toward the Helderberg, 6 inches up to 10 inches of rain. And all of this water funnels into area streams and creeks, and that's why we're concerned about the potential for not only flooding, but we're talking about record flooding across a large part of our area, particularly the Schoharie Creek, where the 8 to 12 inch rainfall amounts plus are all draining into the Schoharie Creek. So the creek will see record flooding over the next 24 to 36 hours. Then we'll be concerned about the Mohawk River and even down into the Hudson River, as all of the water will drain into these basins as we go through the early part of the week. Let's track Irene from this morning. And we could see that it made landfall as a tropical storm over New York. Lots of heavy rain pouring into the capital region. The storm right now is making its way quickly down the Connecticut River Valley and off into central and northern parts of New England. The heaviest rain for us was right during the midday hours, when what was left of the eye wall and the heaviest band of rain with some thunder and lightning worked its way through parts of Columbia, Rensselaer, and Washington counties, then backed into the Hudson Valley. And that's why, again, we saw some of those wind gusts exceeding 40 to 50 miles per hour. And in some cases, we had, again, gusts up to about 55 miles per hour in the city of Albany. So the down trees, the power lines, and the wind gusts probably subsiding to the point where we can lower our guard for that, although the winds will still be gusty through the evening and overnight period with the departure of the storm. The main concern now becomes all of this rain, which is backing back around from the storm and now in from the south. Good news here is that the storm will continue to pick up steam and work its way out through the next several hours. We'll still keep our eyes peeled for the flooding, and the flood warnings have been issued pretty much for the entire area. The bottom line is, if you live near a stream or creek, curiosity gets to you, you want to go look at it, wait. Don't do it now. It's not the right time, especially as we come up toward the sunset hour. Things are going to get dark. It's going to be tough to see, and we don't want you to get swept away. We've already had reports of that throughout the region. Just a beautiful shot here over the last 24 hours of Irene working its way through the region. Much better weather in store for us as we head into the day tomorrow. 54 tonight, the showers wind down, so does the wind. 77 tomorrow, lots of sunshine, mild, beautiful Monday for the cleanup, I guess, if we have to deal with that. Anyway, and look at this, not even a drop on the 7-day planner as we go through the rest of the week and the weekend. High temperatures right around that 80-degree mark. So hopefully we can all breathe a sigh of relief if we did make it through, and you know, keep people in our thoughts who did have to endure some of the devastation.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
The search for a missing woman continues in Clarksville tonight.
We will have another live report coming up. First, though, more pictures that you've been sharing with us from your communities today.
Welcome back. We want to update you now on the situation in southern Albany County, where floods closed numerous roads today and may have claimed a life.
Let's go back out to New Scotland, where Jessica Layton is live and has more. Jess?
Show you some pictures right now. We're having some camera problems due to the wind here, but wanted to tell you a little bit about our day. The Catskill Creek, we were there earlier where it was swelling and then started overflowing a little bit. A couple of trees down over Route 23 in Catskill, and then making your way up to Queemans. You can see where the flooding gets worse and worse, and the most severe we saw today in Albany County was in Clarksville, where the creek there was flooding over Delaware Turnpike, so much so and raging so much so that it is believed that it swept away a woman who's, we're told, in her 60s. Out. See, when it was time for her and her husband to evacuate the Clarksville Elementary School with the rest of the town, but got the chance to do that. She is believed to be swept away. On the scene over there, looking for her, hoping and praying for her. Neighbors are fearing the worst. We will keep you updated with the very latest coming up tonight on News Channel 13 live at 11. Back to you.
Thanks, Jess. And it sounds like the weather's taking its toll on our equipment today.
Yeah.
So much water out there.
Very difficult winds and water. We've been sharing pictures that you've been sending us all day long. After the break, we've got more to show you.
And Paul will be back with the last check of the forecast. Stay with us.
And that is pretty much it for 6 o'clock. Of course, we'll have updates as necessary. You're keeping an eye on the weather.
Yeah, we got everything covered here. We want to urge everybody, don't let your guard down yet. Even though the storm has passed through, things are lessening. There's still a lot of weather to go through before this thing is all over, especially the flooding. In some cases, rivers, streams, and creeks may not crest until tomorrow, so stay clear.
All right, Paul, thanks very much.
And that's our newscast for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Nightly News is next.
And we're going to leave you now with pictures that you, viewers, have been sending in to show us the effects of Irene throughout the capital region. We'll be back here live at 11 with the very latest. Good night.